There is news.
There is news.
We have a new friend here at the Husker football program.
Wait. Friend. I don't know. We've got a new employee.
Employee. Yeah.
I'm so far off the hype train right now after the season we just had.
Team no hype. Yeah. Everybody, after the season, I don't know. I think I used everybody in the wrong context, but most people have been toning down their hype significantly for this next season.
Because
it was bad last year.
Remember that time we thought that Amart could legitimately be a Heisman contender this year?
Vegas released like the super early odds for 2020 Heisman. Guess who's still third? Adrian Martinez.
Yeah,
because Husker fans are gonna bet on them. So obviously not everybody's getting the no hype memo.
I have one reaction to that. You ready for it?
Hit me.
This is the sound of Nebraskan money going down the drain.
Idea. What if we took all of that money and we used it to fund stuff in Nebraska? What if somehow, some way, the Nebraskan state government devoted all their resources to just collecting the bets from the Huskers and saying, "Sorry, Vegas, we know this is going in the trash. Let's use it for good."
At some point, we should have a conversation about how states handle sports gambling, but that's for a different time.
That is for a different time.
Anyway, I just think Nebraskan fans should curb their enthusiasm.
Okay. Well, one thing that could prevent Husker fans from curbing their enthusiasm would be if we were to make some changes around here. I did not expect us to make changes this early, but Coach Frost and the higher-ups have decided to mutually part ways with former offensive coordinator Troy Walters and
Former's got a nice ring to it.
It does. And bring in Matt Lubick.
Yeah.
Well, I said I was surprised to see it this early, but the writing was on the wall when we were rumored to have offered Mickey Joseph, the wide receivers coach from LSU and former player, a job here.
Why would he come here? I honestly think that, if I were, a receivers coach at LSU and you offered me the head coaching job in Nebraska tomorrow, I would turn it down.
You know what? Maybe. Because, down in the SEC, they pay their guys good.
Yep.
Everybody's paid good.
There's no pressure on you.
No pressure.
Who gives a rat's about the receiver coach at LSU? That's got to be one of the... Especially because you've got such a cult of personality around Coach O, that has to be such a chill job as far as college football goes. Yeah, I don't see any reason you would ever leave that job. Less so for a team who, not only, desperately underperformed expectations this year, but, doesn't seem necessarily certain to be headed on a positive trajectory. You know?
Yeah.
I don't even know. I don't want to get too far into conjecture at this point.
Yeah. And there are differing reports on whether we offered him and he turned us down, like you would advise him to do, or we just never offered him at all, and that Matt Lubick was the guy we looked at from the start. Lubick's resume is, let's just say, shaky, I'd say, because he has some decent high points on his resume. His time at Oregon under Scott Frost, that was obviously in a great spot for Oregon football. That was, I believe, the end of the Mariota years, best offense and playoffs, getting guys drafted, just stuff you'd like to see in a college football offense. And he was the receivers coach for that.
Yeah. And the kind of offense that we're trying to run right now.
Yes. So he's worked with Scott and had success with Scott before. But then he moved to Washington and,
Didn't pan out?
And 6 months later, he was working at a credit union.
You're kidding.
You haven't heard that yet?
What year was this?
In 2018, he was the coordinator at Washington. I forgot, offensive coordinator, wide receiver, coach one of the two, probably both. Anyways, and he just quit in the offseason, worked at a credit union for a year, and this is his first job back.
At LSU?
No, this is Matt Lubick we're talking about.
Wait, the guy we got?
The guy we just hired. We hired away, not from a school, but from a credit union.
Where was the credit union?
Colorado. Matt Lubick.
This is one of your games, right?
No, I am 100% serious that Matt Lubick's last employment was at a credit union in Colorado.
I'm looking at the press release. Matt Lubick joins Canvas Credit Union family.
Yup.
Wow.
We just can't get enough of Canvas here at UNL.
You suck. Oh, he coached at Colorado State for a while.
Yeah, his dad was the coach there for a while.
I see. Okay. So he's got Colorado roots.
Yes. And
I was confused about why a Nebraska player was going to do well in Colorado. Like, I see why a former player and coach would become a banker, because I feel like a lot of that job very frequently is like, yeah, my name's Matt, and I'm going to shake your hand. You want to get a bank done? Right? It's just like, let me convince you to let me move your money around, because stonks.
Stonks.
And, that's all well and good.
Yeah.
But...
And his tail end of his coaching career at Washington, he basically kind of took the year off while he was still employed. Like, he left that Washington wide receiver cupboard bare. And,
Wow.
Yeah, so
but he was the wide receivers coach of the year in 2012.
In 2012, at Duke, two of those guys from Duke went to the NFL, I believe.
Really?
For just Duke to get any player in the NFL is an accomplishment, but two from the same position class, if I'm remembering this correctly.
Oh, he followed Scott as offensive coordinator.
Yes. And then, because that was the year Scott left for UCF, and then, Oregon kind of went down the drain that year. I believe they lost to Nebraska. So,
yeah.
But let me emphasize that was not on Lubick the year he was offensive coordinator at Oregon. They were 29th in the nation in offense total, and their defense was 126th. So it was not his fault they went 4-8, but they did go 4-8 with him on their staff. So yeah, a very, very mixed bag of things in his resume.
Yeah, no kidding.
But all in all, it's kind of about the resume of a guy we'd expect to hire. Not a guy who would leave for a credit union, but a guy who knows Frost's offense, who has coached well before, and
who is willing to come to Nebraska.
Is willing to come to Nebraska.
Man. So, I guess we should probably do a little post-mortem piece on our former offensive coordinator. Do you have thoughts on that?
Troy Walters, I don't really know. I don't really know exactly what all he did.
Do we feel like
was he calling the plays even? Because Scott's calling the plays this year.
Do we feel like this was a scapegoat hire?
I can see Scott, I don't think he did this directly. I do think some of this was performance-based, but this does seem like a little bit of keeping the fans happy almost.
It's the pressure off a little bit. And we have zero insider information. I have no idea. I don't even know if he was the first choice for the job to begin with.
They said he was, but they're not going to come out and say, "Oh, this guy was our fifth choice." But thankfully, we got somebody. No, they're going to talk up their new guy.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But I'm sure someone somewhere really knows,
mm-hmm.
And I'm not that guy. I don't know enough to be convinced that this is necessarily a scapegoat fire. What I will say is Scott has been pretty hands-on with this offense.
Mm-hmm.
Which means, I'm sure that there were important things happening, but I'd be curious to know the legitimate impact that this person had on the program. I can't tell you. I don't know that we really necessarily know past that level of like, well, Scott seems to be running the show.
Yeah.
You know? But we'll see.
And Scott, like, swapping out this guy for, like, another one of his, like, close friends who knows the offense, I don't know, like, maybe the vibes were just off or something, and then this'll work. I don't know. But I do think this is necessary to keep the engagement going, and this has undoubtedly bought Scott more time. Like, like this, like, not extend him another 3 years or anything, but this is gonna keep him coasting past, like, after the Purdue game, I said I'd put money on him being fired by the end of 2022. That was kind of a reactionary statement that I would wish to retract now. I think this keeps him going past my graduation date. Scott, yeah.
Who knows? Who honestly knows?
What?
It all depends on... This year has to be...
A bowl.
We gotta make a bowl.
We gotta make a bowl.
And then we gotta keep making bowls.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know if we get many more years not making bowls. I don't think 2 more of those in the next 4. You almost think you have to go 3 for 4 or 4 for 4 in the next 4. And you almost have to do it this coming year.
Yes. Well,
which is a tall order.
Yeah.
Especially in the next couple of years with the schedules that we have. That's in the conference right now. Now, that could change a lot in the next couple of years, right? I don't know.
Yeah. Like, I'd say, if you don't make a bowl year 3, there's a high chance he would be coaching for his job in year 4.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of the trajectory I'm sensing here.
Mm-hmm.
But, well, Scott after losses keeps on talking about how he wants to do this more than anyone. He wants to turn this around. He knows the right way to do it.
And implicit in that is that he legitimately believes he's the guy.
Mm-hmm. Which I guess is what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You want some level of self-belief. I think we've occasionally in Nebraska had too far on the other end of that, where it gets to be like, oh, wow, you're pretty sure you can get this done, and it doesn't look like you're doing it sometimes, but,
Yeah. And this is also, like, a criticism of Bo Pelini was that he was too loyal to his guys on the assistants staff.
Yeah, and that was the kind of thing people would have worried about with a personality type and vibe like Scott's.
Yes, so that sort of eases those worries away. But as far as grand impact on how this goes on the football field, right now we can only really wait and see with that because, again, this guy's been all over the place in terms of good recruiting and really terrible recruiting, in terms of good wide receiver coaching and having fans happy to see him working at a credit union far, far away from their state.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think maybe Washington was just a really bad fit for him and he'll get his head cleared, but the thing is, he has not coached from 2018. He's not coached since 2018. Let me clarify my word soup there. And now he's going to get back with the guy who he's had the most success with, and we'll see what happens. There are also rumors of Mark Helfrich, former Oregon coach, joining as an offensive analyst.
What is an offensive analyst even do? Analyze offenses? Like,
He sits in the press box with the offensive coordinator. He'll read some things off of a clipboard, and I don't know.
I could do it.
Yep.
I'm good at reading things from clipboards. They're one of my favorite things to read off of.
Heck, I'll do it from half of whatever you're potentially paying Helfrich, okay?
Oh, I'll do it for a quarter. I promise you that is more than I'll probably make in my chosen profession, so...
Heck, I'd do it for a literal quarter.
Yeah, just for the exposure, man.
Just for the exposure. We can't afford to pay you right now, but this will be great exposure for your next job.
Shudders. Shudders in millennial.
So, that's the Nebraska football news we've had this week.
Nice. Is it positive? Let us know. We don't know. God help us all.
We don't know. God help us all.
Now, to
Now-
other states' bullcrap.
Other states' bullcrap. There is one thing that can make us talk about college basketball before March,
Yep.
and that's a fight.
It's a fight! I really didn't think we'd talk about it, except once it was like Big Ten tournament time, we'd probably be like, and Nebraska has a basketball team.
Yeah,
That's it. That's all I got. Like,
because this has been a very transitional year for Husker basketball.
positives and negatives, ups and downs. Like, it would have been plenty to talk about if I could mentally do that to myself, but I'm not gonna, because I don't make this show for money. I make it for fun, and it's not fun to deal with this team right now.
No.
So,
Yeah, give Hoiberg a couple more years, and I think we'll know who he is and what he's doing.
I think we know who he is and what he's doing. I don't know if we know that it works yet. That's
Okay.
where I'm at. But, like, what he's doing is clear.
Okay.
I think people can see the plan. Don't you?
Yeah, from what I've watched of it,
Yeah.
which admittedly isn't much this
Not a
year.
whole lot, but you get the vibe of, like, okay.
3-and-D type stuff.
Yeah, which admittedly is one of my favorite types of basketball to watch. But like,
But like, you need the guys in that system, and you need to consistently have average or better night shooting, and we don't always do that.
no. Nope. Yeah. Anyway,
But elsewhere in college basketball, it's actually been a very wild year. Like, number one has seemed to be like a cursed spot. We haven't talked about any of that, by the way, because
but now we are going to talk about college basketball because somebody tried to throw a chair at somebody.
a stool,
So-
not just a chair. I think a chair undersells the intent of what he was doing here. I'm going to pull up this footage because this footage is spectacular.
Dude, you're right. I got to watch this again. I'm just going to watch the whole.
Yes.
So, we're talking about the footage. You have to see this. If somehow you have avoided the Kansas State fight up until this point, it was the Kansas State game. Always, a little bit content. It's a rivalry game.
Yep,
I don't know that it's a hot rivalry game because Kansas State not that good at basketball.
And Kansas, not that good at football.
Nope.
So-
So they just kind of trade back and forth, and this is kind of just like the ceremonial destructuration of Kansas State.
A plus English 100.
And here we are with 1 second left on the clock.
The whole sequence starts with 10.7 seconds. Should I
So-
turn off
so
the
you gotta-
broadcast?
You gotta watch this.
Okay, so 23 for Kansas. I should know his name. He's probably very good if he's playing at Kansas. He dribbles the ball up court, and he's just going to dribble out these last 5 seconds. Kansas State, number 5, catches him lacking and steals the ball from him with 4.6 seconds left in an 81-59 game. Is that necessary? Absolutely not. So he breaks that unwritten rule, and he goes down to the other end and gets absolutely...
Well, yeah, he's gonna take it to the house. Give Kansas State fans something to smile about on the way home. 23, whose name I believe is Silvio De Souza.
Yes. If we were on TV right now, I would put a big yellow circle around this guy with my magic marker and say, keep your eye on D'Souza.
It's madness. You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it from multiple angles. You're gonna spend an hour just watching what happens next. So,
After he volleyball spikes that ball out of bounds, it's an epic block.
dude, it's incredible. Because this is part of my argument later. Like, holy crap. It's one of those moments where you feel like you might be watching Space Jam or something. It's otherworldly, and you watch the Kansas State player's soul be ripped off of his body and sent straight to the abyss. It's the most demoralizing thing. It's like an instant meme.
I gotta put this in slow-mo.
It's almost comical, people. It's really...
I just picture chariots of fire in the
God.
background,
It's
and
like
look
a
at
movie
that. He
Renaissance
does a
painting.
Euro step.
Yeah, he Euro steps no one and then gets slaughtered. It hurts. It really
hurt.
does.
Then he slides out of bounds past the hoop, and D'Souza comes and stands over him like so.
Now, hold on. Saying that makes that sound worse than it is. Because when somebody said to me, I had this first verbally described to me before I watched it. When somebody said to me that D'Souza stands over him, I'm envisioning D'Souza walking up and literally like straddling this man and looking down on him. That's not what's occurring. He comes up, he stands next to him.
I'd say in front of his feet. Like his feet,
Yeah,
his feet are above like the shoe ankle portion, and he's just like staring down like, don't try that on me.
Yeah, he's clearly giving him some lip.
Mm-hmm. And then, so all the other players come running towards, like, because that's an obvious sign of disrespect.
So here's the thing. What I have heard is that it was not about to be a fight, and that the Kansas State players moved over to help the Kansas State player up, and the Kansas players were about to go celebrate because they'd just beaten their rival. And the trouble was that they all looked over and saw the other team headed in the same direction as them after presumably one of their guys, and it was just mutually assured destruction from then on out because people assumed that the other side was ready for a scrape. And it was a tense moment, right?
Yes.
Like, you see that, and you know that that's not going to go unanswered, and then you see him stand over the guy, and you think, I really thought, like, if you paused it there, you actually just missed a key moment. So
Okay.
back that up. I analyzed the hell out of this last night. My poor girlfriend was sitting there, like, when I, like, watched the footage, and Beth was just like, why do you care? And I'm like, look at the angle of his wrist! Like, so anyway.
Okay. Point out to me, is this the key moment, or is
Yeah.
it further back?
No, it's literally right after this.
Okay.
Because
I'm going to put this in.
when, so
25
Kansas
speed.
State player runs into D'Souza right there. It's the punch.
The grab. That's like a grab of a hand. That's barely a punch.
Wait, hold on.
Like
It's
that.
a punch. Look, that's a closed fist coming at him.
Okay.
That's a punch. Now, I'm not saying that, like, because what had just happened is a Kansas State player, as he's standing, as Silvio D'Souza is standing over this guy that he's just distrubulated.
I like this shot the best. It's like, this is like,
No, there are way better shots later in the sequence.
there are, but I just want to describe this shot at the 22-second mark real quick. Look at this. They're all making like a little huddle around the hoop. There's nothing going on in the middle. It's like a dance circle almost. And then on the far right corner, two guys are punching each other.
Yeah, you can tell a rumble's about to start. It's kind of magical. I think there are a lot of images from this that are just like incredible. So once you've seen the video, you have to look at some stills because it's also cool how different things paint people in different lights. Because that moment where you see it in the broadcast footage, which is what we're looking at, ESPN put it up. It's called Massive Brawl Breaks Out at End of Kansas State. You'll be able to find it. It's the ESPN channel.
I have a question. Who is this guy in the gray pants? Okay.
Dude, I don't know. There's so many randos in this whole thing that it's impossible to tell exactly.
Because this guy in the gray pants and this guy in the suit, they're dishing it out too. But no one's...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, random fans were just like, now it's time to fight. So, D'Souza gets knocked over by a Kansas State player who's coming in to help up his buddy.
Oh.
And then D'Souza wheels around and says, well, if you're just about to tackle me, now we're going to fight. So then, by this point, the guy who tried to dunk on D'Souza has jumped up and started yelling at him. This is when D'Souza throws the first punch, technically crosses, which we'll talk about this later, crosses this imaginary line of like, oh no, we've really crossed to immorality too. Like, shoving is okay. But the second you really throw a punch on a basketball court, oh god, oh jeez, oh my god.
You're destroying the game.
Yeah.
You should be ashamed
You're
of
ruining
yourselves.
the game. This is not why college athletics exists. College athletics exists to make old white men rich.
I forget who it was, but somebody said this fight was a stain on everyone who's ever worn a college basketball uniform.
The sheer hyperbole. So, the first time you watch it...
Well, okay, where I'm at in the video, he just picked up the stool. We should talk about the stool.
Yeah, we should. But actually, honestly, because this all goes way off the rails once they get to the stands. So I'm actually trying to get things out my face hole before we get to the stands, because I don't even know where this podcast is going to go when we try and talk about the sheer storm that ensues when they actually hit the stand. So right now, they're in basically the paint below the basket.
Yes.
In that gray area of like not court, not stand.
Yes, just picture my image earlier of a dance circle and imagine that forming around the basketball hoop.
Yeah.
And they're like, go hoop, go hoop, go hoop. And then at the far right corner of that dance circle is where the punchy is happening.
Right in front of the floor seats.
Yes.
Let's
continue to play this in slow-mo.
Yeah, oh man, but you're missing so much because there's the moment, so you gotta stop there. Anyway, what I want to make clear, I've lost my train of thought. Do you see how tough this is to talk about? There's so many things happening.
Yes.
Oh, what was I gonna say?
This is so beautiful. I love the cameraman behind the cheerleaders, behind the fight, who's just reaching that camera over.
Yeah, that's the other thing. There's so many different motives at play. It feels like a slowly moving tableau. Like the reporters want to see things. There are fans from both sides who are either getting into scraps or pulling over their guys. There's like old dudes who are in disgust. There's like college kids who are cheering them on. Not to mention, this game's a blowout. Yes. And it's in the last 10 seconds, which means like...
It's literally over at this point. The zero...
No, it's not. No, it is not. It is displaying final score, but the game is not actually over. And we will get back to this, and I have thoughts. There are so many pins and so many things here.
We need some yarn, some cork, and a big...
We need the world's biggest cork board in the world.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
We just need circles like, who is this guy? What's his motive? Why is 24 hugging his own player?
It's been like a day and a half, but this deserves a deep rewind.
Can I continue to hit play some more?
No, because I have one more thing to say.
Okay.
You really should watch this entire 9-minute video. You should do it several times, and you should do it when your girlfriend's present. But what you need to do the first time is watch it with the commentary and share my utter disgust at the moral condemnation of what is happening. And here is my broad, overarching point about this entire thing. Athletics are an aggressive endeavor.
Yes.
People get fired up, and we want this, and that's what we glorify. We talk about passion. We talk about heart. We quite literally use the word fight to describe what we want out of college athletes, and then, particularly, I think, in college athletics, there's this strange, hollowed shrine around what this is supposed to be, and we call it sportsmanship.
Even though it has literally never been that. Like,
this is the part where I get into ridiculous hyperbole. Sportsmanship is dead. Sportsmanship died when you took these athletes and decided not to give them any compensation for the work they're doing. Sportsmanship died when you made this a spectacle worth millions and millions of dollars and cut these people out of the process. Sportsmanship died when old white dudes started running entire universities around this. This is a business. This is an entertainment product. And we know you love this. And ESPN, we know you love to get to spread moral condemnation because it means we watch. And we want to watch because, frankly, this is what it's about. This is when competition boils over and we enjoy that. I'm not saying that we should not suspend people. I'm not saying that people should walk out of this without consequences. Obviously, they should. But for the love of God, the idea that this is just so reprehensible, that this is just so unmistakably horrible and impossible to understand is complete and utter. Austin, you censor that, I will beat you senseless. This is unbelievable to me and drives me crazy and flies in the face of so many things that I think sports are actually about. We want athletes to care. We want athletes to feel until they feel too much. Now this all has to come out. I'm sorry, I'm on a roll, Justin. This all has to come out of my face before he picks up the chair. because then I need to put in a caveat. So D'Souza, if you're, being bad at being a podcast listener and haven't looked up this fight, which I've told you to do several times, because you're not going to get anything out of this if you don't. Scolding listeners, it's great for views, but or listens. You don't view a podcast.
I love these thumbnails so much. Dick Vitale, and there's a guy with the stool, Stephen A. Smith.
Dude, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Because Dickie V and Stephen A get to sit there and shake their heads. And then Max Kellerman gets to do my job and be like, hey guys, don't you think that maybe this is part of sports? And then Stephen A. Smith comes up and is like, no, Max Kellerman, I do not agree with you. You do not understand the consequences, the sacredness of college athletics.
Larry Bird wouldn't do this. Larry Bird would literally punch you if you tried to drive in the lane against him.
Dude, basketball in general used to be like a street fight where occasionally basketball would break out. I don't know where we got so worked up about this. Like, it's unbelievable. Hockey is a sport in which this is regular and players self-police themselves, and there is an acceptable way to do this and there is an unacceptable way to do this. Baseball, exact same thing.
But hockey players have like helmets and stuff.
Yeah, these guys are freaking huge guys. No one was legitimately in danger until the chair.
Stool. I would like to clarify this was a stool, not a chair.
You're really hung up on the shape of the chair, Justin. It's a
because this makes it so hilarious. That's a stool.
It is very
like picture like an old Western movie, and like Gunslinger Jenkins comes into the saloon, and they're like, "We don't like your kind here, cowboy."
And decides not to sling his gun and instead slings a bar stool at something.
Yes, like imagine old. Like the old cowboy, old Hoss McGee is just sitting there on the bar stool, and then Gunslinger Jenkins comes in and is like, "You don't like me, well I don't like you," and he just rips the stool out from under old man Jenkins and starts beating everyone up with the stool.
Now, D'Souza doesn't hit anybody. Nobody. The stool makes contact with absolutely no one.
Because, okay, let's watch this. We are at the part of the stool, my favorite part in the whole set.
You said stool.
It was a stool. Okay, so like D'Souza's trying to get out of the way. Now he sees the stool. You see the moment where he sees the stool on the floor, picks it up, and then Orange Hat Guy is like,
"Savior of the universe."
No, don't do that. Who is this guy? Is he the mop boy? I think he might be the mop boy.
Or like a security personnel man or something.
He looks a bit old to be a mop boy. But anyways, he has the body of a mop boy. So he is there, standing in the way of big basketball man with stool. He's like, no. And his hand is like just barely on that thing, like, do not hit with this. And then he's like, he looks at him and he's like, no, I'm going to hit with this. And then blue shirt guy comes running from the stands. And this is when Souza is at like...
the chair's above his head.
The chair's above his head. It's like, picture Doodle Bob with the pencil, and that's him with the stool. So he's in position Doodle Bob right now, and then blue shirt guy is running towards him while Mop Boy still has his arm hooked around the top of the chair. Mop Boy gets the chair thrown away from him, not thrown. Mop Boy gets the chair moved away from him, and then blue shirt guy tries to grasp for the ends of the stool, and then it gets ripped out of him by some random guy in a suit who just runs up. As D'Souza is like, I'm going to fight somebody over here now.
Here's my thing. Now, this is where my, Zapruder filming of this got really, really,
Zaprudery?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was such an anticlimactic ending after... That's such an anticlimactic ending after I hyped up Blue Shirt Man and Orange Hat Guy.
So, here's the controversy in my mind. It looks like Suitman, the third guy. Oh, it's hilarious.
Number 14 was trying to jump the scores table, but he couldn't do it.
Yeah. If you're going to try and jump the scores table, you need to be sure you can clear it. I couldn't, which is why I won't jump the scores table.
And I love how casually red shirt guy, I believe he's a Kansas bench player, hands in his pocket, just walking towards it.
What's going on, guys? You got a little kerfuffle going on over here. What's happening?
And then those poor cheerleaders, This is their area of the court.
Dude.
And one of them's just hanging out like...
You need to see, because later in the broadcast, we're only 35 seconds in, and I promise you, we're going to go through all 9 minutes of this. Later in the broadcast, one of the funniest scenes is when
I love
Mr. Random Kansas cheerleader guy, who looks like Sunshine from Remember the Titans, turns around, and I think the words he's saying is, "Oh God, why?" Like he's watching children
Look at
right
how
in front of him.
look at this security guard who's trying to break this thing up. Everything. There's somebody in a wheelchair right here.
Dude, well, yeah, because when you think about it, like, that's exactly where handicapped people get put in basketball games, is, like, on the floor.
And this is, like, another very underrated spot. Look at the mascot. He is covering his eyes. How adorable is that?
Oh, it's just the most unbelievable thing.
Continuing to press... Why did I unfull screen it? Press play on
So,
this.
the chair clatters to the ground, but it falls in a way that makes me think D'Souza was actually dropping it before suit guy gets a hand on it. And we can look at that again.
Is there an alternate angle? Okay, cheerleader finally gets out of here.
One of the cheerleaders, but there's a whole row of them, and 4 of them had just gotten, like, mauled.
Oh, good.
Whoa, look at Mr. Jive Dance on the end here. Back it up, back it up. I think he's got a press pass. Check out in the lane right now. Whoa!
He's stepping over like a cable, but that was such an excessive leg kick for
I know.
what he needed to do.
Dude, like, there's so many, it's like a Where's Waldo, but everyone's moving and panicking.
I love that so much. He's like,
Let's keep it rolling.
let's keep it. Thank you
There's
for
so many
noticing
things.
that.
Look up in the stands now, because there's some great stuff that goes on.
Ooh,
up
there's a
there.
Viking.
Huh? Dude, it's really a Where's Waldo. Like, people are in costumes. It's crazy.
The ref is trying to eject somebody. I don't know who.
Yeah, the fact that the refs are, like, on the periphery of this, and, like, the cops are doing more than the refs at this point.
And
So, now look at Backwards Hat. Frat boy here.
oh, frat boy. Okay, so I'm gonna keep my cursor on frat boy so I can follow him. Oh gosh, I can only imagine what's being yelled.
I just don't understand what these two are doing. Like, for a second, it looks like they're holding hands.
Oh, you're right. You're
Like,
right.
they're having a whole very, very gay romantic moment in front of everybody. And I
Frat boy
support
and
that.
Discount Spider-Man just decided to have a loving embrace.
Now, the coach here, Coach Lawrence here, is like, looks like he's being crucified, but you can't see the cross, and he's just got his arms out like Christ the Redeemer here, and is like just totally confused.
Okay,
There's so much happening.
continue to press play. This guy's pointing at somebody. Lots of pointing going on.
Folks are hollering, yellow shirt guy's here, but I don't know what he's doing.
He just broke up the whole fight. He did. Like, the fight's pretty much over now. This is just the aftermath.
And the aftermath is glorious, folks. Like, I think watching people be like, what just happened is way more entertaining than the fight. So, D'Souza's still in the stands, and he's getting shoved by Kansas fans out of the stands. Watch him. You see him? He's right up. His head's on the corner of the ESPN sign right now. Are you playing it forwards or backwards?
This is forwards.
So the Kansas players are still in the stands with their own fans. The Kansas State players have done a pretty good job of getting the hell off the court, which we will come back to.
Okay, here we go.
So-
Alternate. Hey, AirPods. So that was orange hat guy was a cameraman with AirPods, and then Paul Blart is back there, and then is that not Paul Blart?
Oh my god, I didn't even notice Paul Blart. People are like aghast too. Like they've got one hand on their cell phone and the other hand over their mouth.
Old guy.
This
Other old guy.
This person in the hat there with the long sleeves.
The mullet.
I think it might be a woman. You'll see them later though, and they're hilarious.
It's Kansas. It says final score. They're walking off. Look at how many keys that officer has.
Yeah, cops carry a lot of keys, and I always wonder what they're to. Or if it's just
His
like
name's
what if-
JJ Beard, but he doesn't have a beard.
No,
Are cops allowed to have beards?
it's not like they're priests.
Oh.
And only
Or-
priests
or
in, like,
New
the
York
diocese
Yankee.
can't have beards.
Should I fast mode this part?
Yeah, we can go back to regular speed. Regular speed, not 1.25. So now they show it again.
From regular broadcast angle. I'm waiting for new...
It's actually funny to see it sped up because I'm watching what my eye gets drawn to. And it is D'Souza.
Okay.
Like, every time...
Nick, close your eyes. I'm going to do something that's probably just going to work on this podcast.
Wait. Can we make this into a GIF and post it? Please?
Watching the fight on 1.5 speed with yakety sax in the background.
We have to make this into a YouTube video.
Look at...
Oh god, people, it's so perfect. We gotta post this.
I'll put that on my YouTube.
Oh, there's the guy. No, we gotta slow back down because I have thoughts. That's Sunshine! There's Sunshine!
That's like...
I told you he looks like Sunshine from Remember the Titans.
He looks more like a teenage Elizabeth Warren if she was a dude.
That's a terrifying thought, so I'm not even gonna address it.
Okay, so should we go back to slow-mo? Because we missed a lot in our yakety saxing.
Go back to the new angle. Now, here we're gonna start to see new stuff. The new angle under the basket of this is actually really interesting.
Okay.
It's not interesting, I just wanted to see it again, because it looks like a volleyball spike. It's not even a block. He just destroys
That's
the man.
arguably a goaltend if it hit the backboard first.
Now he comes down.
Yeah.
Kansas State is rolling. And look where his foot lands. That foot...
Oh, that's getting nice and snuggly with his hip there.
Yeah, but it's not over him.
Okay, he's not straddling.
In no legitimate physical danger. D'Souza wants to chat, and he's going to do it. Kansas State does not know where he is. He does not know his name. He is totally lost right now.
And then somebody shoves into him. And then somebody shoves into the guy shoving into him. And then, stoner hippie dude gets knocked over. Pudgy cheerleader. I should stop describing people as pudgy. Cheerleader with a buzz cut comes in and tries to intervene.
Male cheerleader. I don't know why the Kansas male cheerleaders get as involved as they do, but oh my god, do they get involved. Dude, they're all over this thing.
They do. Like, you're not wrong.
So, pudgy frontman's throwing punches.
Look at the girl in the Kansas sweatshirt. She was yelling her head off. I hope they show her again. Okay.
Sunshine is just utterly lost. D'Souza comes back now. Throws what is clearly a closed fist.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what is he? This guy's still holding his clipboard. I love it.
Well, where were you going to put it? When did you have the time to lose it? So now Sunshine... No, back it up a little bit. Sunshine just got hit by his own co-male cheerleader.
Oh, by Buzzcut?
By Pudgy Buzzcut's elbow.
Pudgy Buzzcut. That's going to be my username when I sign up for forums.
I also think that the K-State players are fighting just as hard. They're just bad at it. See, watch. Boom! Oh, also, Balding Journo Man is just so confused. Did you see him?
Yeah.
He's like, what am I watching? So then D'Souza goes spilling into the stands.
That ref looks like Doug Flutie.
Look! This is the why God why moment. This is the true Renaissance painting of, what has become of my poor village.
Yeah. His kind of...
And random cheerleader girl with a sunflower in her hair. Because this game is legitimately called...
The Sunflower Showdown.
There was a fight at the Sunflower Showdown, ladies and gentlemen. That sentence makes me so freaking happy. Oh,
so here's the stool. Here's the stool.
And
look at this.
His hands are totally off the thing at this point.
Yeah.
He releases it before Suit Man gets a hold of it.
Okay, let's look at this. This is like we describe things as Renaissance paintings often when they get out of hand. This is the most Renaissance-y thing I've seen since Washington crossing the Delaware.
That wasn't a Renaissance painting, but okay.
Same thing. So we've got John Bolton looking guy over here. We've got Suit Man, and we've got the guy with the stool. And
I don't know that John Bolton man matters. I think we're really just focusing on. We got to narrow this down. I don't want to go against going down false leads here. We're looking at number 22. And we're looking at Suit Man.
Was Subban the same Kansas State assistant coach with the clipboard?
Yes.
Has he since lost the clipboard?
He has since lost the clipboard. Now, watch.
Okay, so there's a hand.
One hand is, I think that backhand is actually off the stool.
Right there. Yeah, the backhand gets lifted off as soon as the assistant coach, with the hand free of clipboard, reaches for it.
D'Souza is holding this thing with one hand. Now,
yeah, he dropped it.
He dropped it. No one had to wrestle it out of his hands, and that's something that gets talked about later that people legitimately were not looking for. D'Souza drops the stupid thing.
It bounces off his back, and then I don't think anybody gets hit by it.
The only person who it hits is himself.
Yes.
He drops it. Now, would he have realized that if someone wasn't running for it? Possibly not. I think that he clearly thinks in the moment like, oh no, I shouldn't brain someone right now.
Which, props to Myles Garrett, is a skill that more athletes need to know.
I don't think Myles Garrett deserves props, but okay.
Props was not the word I was looking for there.
I can't stop looking at Sunshine.
Look at that.
No,
he's protecting his girl. He's somebody's just laying on the floor here.
Yeah, some people definitely get sprawled out. Are we still moving? We're moving real slow. So yeah, now backwards hat guy's involved. Now he's a part of things.
Oh, so my Dan Lebitard show listeners will appreciate this if there's any overlap between podcasts. But he looks exactly like Chris Cody. Okay, so Chris Cody's hugging Travis Scott, and then D'Souza drops the stool. It bounces off his back. Spider-Man guy is holding this guy back, and then John Legend is being held by Pudgy.
Yeah, they're legitimately like throwing punches at their own fans at this point.
Old guy's angry. He's yelling at him.
That isn't the way we do things in the Sunflower Showdown, boys. You're gonna hear about this from Stephen A. Smith, boys. Mark my words, my crotchety old man boomer words.
The cop is helping this Kansas fan who just fell down up.
Oh yeah, he just grabs that lady and like yeets her back to standing. It's terrifying. I would hate to be her.
This scores table guy looks like he's about to take a nap.
He's like, I don't even know what's going on. I'm just gonna keep my head down and not.
This cop is trying to figure out who this jacket belongs to, which I find hilarious.
Cheerleader girl is like, what? Things are happening in the other direction? I'll look away from the fight. So now they go back and they're looking at the replay to get numbers to eject people. So you can put it back to normal speed because this is literally just the referees. You bring it back.
Okay.
Like, there's about a second left when all of this goes down, which becomes important and we need to chat about.
Did this guy get the ball from that whole thing?
Yep.
I would have run out of the arena if I was this guy. I got the basketball from the moment of the Kansas State brawl. Like,
he doesn't have that wherewithal, man.
Dog, I would immediately sell that thing because no one's gonna really care.
No, you wait for it to appreciate.
Yeah, but like in 2 years, like, do you think people are still gonna?
Yeah, I think this will be like an artifact of Kansas State. Like, I could legitimately see this as like beef that spills over to football, beef that somehow gets settled by students in the future. Yeah, it's gnarly.
Gnarly. LeVar Ball is the ref. There are kids. There are just 2 kids hanging out there.
Yeah, that's totally weird.
They're both in green shirts, so. Okay, so guy in a Kansas sweatshirt just takes that jacket the cop was trying to find out who belongs to, and I don't even know if that was his jacket. That's a good business opportunity. Just take a jacket.
Mullet person is utterly confused.
Whoever that guy is, he's...
You could watch this one time for every person. So now the Kansas State players are like milling around, and no one knows why they're not leaving the court. And the announcers say, hey, last year, didn't we put in that rule that says you have to finish a basketball game? So now they're going to go back to the clock. And if you look, wait, pause it. Actually, slow that part down. They're showing the game clock. With 4.2 seconds left, he steals it. It leaves with about 0.7 of a second left on the clock. The ball leaves the court and is out of play, meaning that they have to finish the game. And somebody gets some foul shots. So they decide it's tech. They decide it's specifically on D'Souza. And thus, both teams have to send 5 men back out to the court to watch the guy who just got mauled shoot foul shots. Which is the most awkward thing ever.
Rose.
Now, he has to shoot 2 meaningless free throws. I looked it up. It doesn't even matter for the spread.
Then they inbound the ball. I don't even think Kansas had a full 5
Everyone
out.
runs away. Like, the Kansas players are practically sprinting across the floor.
And these are all just bench warmers from Kansas. Like, none of these guys had seen any action prior.
Because they walk over to the coaches and basically say, if you have anybody who wasn't involved, put him in.
Okay. And then we get Stephen A. at the...
It's literally like a package promo. He doesn't say anything in this video. Yeah.
Yep.
I think we've
This
gotten
fight
through-
lasted longer than McGregor's.
That's pretty good.
I liked it. Okay.
Did you see Terrence Crawford might fight McGregor?
I do not get why that would make sense from any side.
No, it's really cool because they're not doing it like they did the McGregor-Mayweather fight. It's a 1-1. So Crawford fights him once AMA, and then a month later they box.
Can Crawford even do MMA though? Like,
Yeah, he used to kickbox. And he used to do taekwondo and wrestling.
okay,
So
though.
he's grappled before, just like McGregor used to be a boxer. I think they'll go 1-1. But here's my thing. I like it because it gives Terrence something to do while Manny Pacquiao runs around and decides to be a coward.
He should fight Spence. Spence is who's being a coward.
Nope, it's Pacquiao.
Pacquiao's past his prime. He's lost to so many guys by now. It's not even a surprise when he loses anymore. I want to see him fight the next big thing, and that's Errol Spence, the young guy in the weight class who's been ducking him for so long because the promoters don't know what they're doing.
He has been ducking him.
Yeah. Errol Spence, because I know you're listening, stop ducking him.
Just get beat up by an Omaha boy and go home.
Amen.
More people ought to do that.
So
sometimes that Omaha boy's not from Omaha, and his name's Silvio D'Souza. You got to get beat up by him and go home. Kansas State. I don't even like Kansas basketball. In fact, Kansas basketball annoys the hell out of me. But tonight, todos somos los mantequillos.
Esta noche somos mantequilla.
Esta noche
Somos mantequilla. Love It Hard Show listeners, I know you get that. So there's other basketball that's not college fights at the moment. That is the NBA, which, Nick, you are starting to become a fan of.
Yeah, my hat evidences that.
They can't see your head. Nick?
I know that's the idea. They can't see my hat.
Oh, that's right. That is right. So this weekend, hopefully, I will upload...
If Nick can get his crap together, is
Yeah.
the subtext there.
I will upload the decision, Nick's decision of an NBA franchise. He has made the decision. He has been rooting for them since, I believe.
Yeah.
And so, what are your initial impressions of the NBA, and what do you like and not like about it? And I can try to convince you to become super invested like I am at the moment.
So that's not going to happen.
Why not?
There are several barriers to entry.
Okay.
One, wow, there's a lot of content. There's just so many games, and I don't know what matters and what doesn't.
Okay, that's true. That is kind of fair. But normally if something's on TNT or ESPN, it matters. I think that's just a fair way to go about things. And then...
Well, there seem to be things that matter that don't even get, televised that well.
Yes, that is one issue I do have, is how they televise the games, and how that, again, big market teams get obviously way more favored than, the small market teams, even if the small market teams are so much better than the big ones that any given year.
Sounds like you're talking about Milwaukee.
Yeah, Milwaukee's get...
I've been trying to watch other basketball games, not related to the team that I chose. I still haven't seen Milwaukee.
Okay, well, but thankfully everything is on YouTube. So, but if you do watch Milwaukee play, I do highly recommend that.
Problem number 2. Your boy hates highlights.
Whoa.
I hate them.
Oh.
They're dumb. They're stupid. You don't get a good sense of what actually happened in the game from highlights. It's just like watching a litany of unnecessary dunks. I would much rather you post the last quarter of the game. Because you would be stealing about the same amount of time of basketball, like of actual basketball played. And like I would get a better sense for what happened.
I don't know. I like highlights when it comes to the NBA. I guess more so than college because, like...
I will watch highlights for soccer. I will watch highlights for hockey. I will occasionally watch football highlights, especially if like we're going to do a show and I need to remember certain moments of the game. I will watch football highlights. Basketball highlights are totally and utterly useless.
I like just the fast-paced of action of basketball highlights. I like how it cuts out the free throws. I like just that you can see each team's offense when it's running and working well and get the feel of the game just based on just the made shots. Because I can do that at least. I can get the feel of the game. I can feel the runs when they happen. I can feel the tension when it gets close. And you can tell when a team's not going through a very good like spell. You can tell who's not shooting very well by who doesn't show up, you know?
So what I do and what I've been trying to do to keep up with the team that I picked is to follow on Twitter specific media people from Market Redacted and watch for coverage. There's a podcast called Hooked on Redacted that I've been watching, and there's also like SB Nation beat writers for Redacted, and there's ESPN writers for Redacted. I like to read lots of different coverage because Redacted is a team that you can think a lot of things about right now.
Oh yeah, they are. You picked a good one to follow just in terms of pure stories, because it changes every game with this.
Every single game. I don't know how to feel. I am like just totally awash. But there's one undercurrent that I can't shake on that matter.
Okay.
None of this matters till the playoffs. Because realistically, because that'll spoil the video.
Yeah.
We're in a conference. And on any given night, can I say that? No, I can't. I can't say anything. Let me just say that this team's... No, I can't even say that. I think we've already said too much because... So, in the video that we made... You know what? Let's let people who want to remain totally spoiler-free for the video...
Yes.
Skip ahead. You might be able to reverse engineer what team I pick. From the conversation we're about to have, I'm not going to say it, you might be able to at least eliminate teams.
Yes.
Because I'm going to say words like playoff hunt from now on, which are pretty much going to take, I don't know, the Knicks out of the conversation. A couple of the teams that I looked at out of the conversation. Which could be a big spoiler.
Continue.
Stop listening 30 seconds ago. So, yeah. We're in the playoff hunt in our conference. The 2 through 6 spots in the conference are pretty much fluid. I think we're currently occupying the 6th spot, but wait a couple weeks, we could be occupying the 2 spot. Like, it's super tight at the top of that conference.
I honestly think I think that's amazingly fun to watch.
It's fun, but also it doesn't matter, because to me what that says is any of these teams can beat any of these teams on any given night.
Yeah.
Which means none of it matters until the playoffs. Seeding doesn't matter that much.
Yeah,
you don't want to be 8.
Yes.
You probably would prefer to be in the top 4. Past that, I don't know.
Yes, home court does matter, and also with this 2 to 6 race, getting that 2 seed is huge this year in the West. Because...
Is it? Because the 1 seed's real good.
That means you won't have to face them until the conference finals. And...
So? I don't think we care unless we win our conference.
And you get a 7 seed in the first round, so you don't have to play any of those other 4 teams who are just as good as you. Like, and that's gonna be such a battle, and anything can happen, really, in the time from first round to conference finals. That's like a decent month right there. Like, if one injury happens on the one seed to one of their key guys, that's your conference right now.
Yeah, you're right. Like, the
Like
Lakers can't afford to lose anybody.
yes, the Bucks and the Lakers are the two top seeds right now, far and away the two best teams in the league. But if
It would
one,
be a really fun finals.
it would be a very fun finals. But if one of their guys goes down, all bets are off on who makes it. Because once if you take any of them out of the equation, it's a total war zone. And in basketball, anything can happen like that. So, yeah.
Here's the other thing.
So so much of that mystery up in the air, and just how much the narrative changes from each team week to week, it seems. Like that's what keeps me invested personally.
Yeah, that's big. But that also says to me, hey, this sport's really fickle. And I don't know what to think about that. So, I'm a big soccer fan. I'm a big
Yes.
Liverpool fan. One of the really incredible things about what Liverpool is doing right now, which we will talk about probably in a few months, because in 99% of simulations done by 538, we win the league this year. So, liking our chances. But, when we recap, we'll talk about this Liverpool team. I will rant for an hour. I will make it easily skippable for the people who don't want to watch it or consume it or whatever. But one of the things that they have to do, because their season is so long, but there's no playoffs, is that every single game matters. You win the league, not only by beating the teams you know you need to show up against, but by never dropping points. Perfection every time you go out there for 90 minutes. And in this sport,
Yeah.
you can get hot in February and win the stupid thing.
Yes.
There are 8 seeds that could win this year.
This honestly, you know what? Maybe because last night one of the most special moments I've seen watching basketball in a while happened. Have you seen the highlights of Zion's debut?
No.
So yeah, for the first 3 quarters, it was like, why am I watching this? Why did they put him out there? He was just like jogging up and down the court for 5 minutes, and they'd take him out. And then, fourth quarter happens.
Did they let him loose?
In 3 minutes and 6 seconds, he scored 17 points. 17 not unanswered, 17 straight points for the team. They were playing the San Antonio Spurs in a key. That's key in the race for the 8th seed, if you care about that. So it's a key game. So if this guy gets, fully healthy, because he was only like 75% last night, that Pelicans team, if they get the 8, I don't think I'd want to see him in the first round if he keeps on progressing, because last night was something special.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
So what is his injury?
Oh, it's something with his leg.
But it's like, are they worried about it recurring?
Yeah. Like, they have him on a minutes restriction now, so they didn't even put him in to finish the game after his 17-point run. They took him out with 3 minutes to go, and they lost the game. But,
Damn.
yeah. But for the most hyped prospect since LeBron to go score 22 in his debut.
Well, hurt.
Honestly, I hope the rest of his career keeps that excitement going, because
I'd like to see him do better than LeBron.
yeah, like,
I think that's feasible.
for his sake, I hope he does, because I can't imagine the amount of expectations like weighing on him. Like,
Really? Have
we're
you ever seen an interview with the guy?
we're both older than him. Like, this
That
kid
is bananas.
this kid is 19, and
That kid is like
I don't.
Charlie Easley's age.
Yeah. Like, I don't.
Oh God.
It probably won't already show watching him now, but if he doesn't pan out, like, just him in the future thinking back on.
One thing about Zion that's always been evident is like his NBA success is almost not in his hands. And I think he understands that. And he has to take every day like it comes and play the best basketball he possibly can that day. Because between that leg and NBA transfer politics, I guess it's trades in the NBA.
Transfers. The trade deadline's coming up though in a couple weeks. That's a very fun time because that's when you get to see like one of those 2 to 6 teams. Like some of them will just make a move. They're like, we're going all in on this year. So it's fun to see who's buying and who's selling. So that's gonna be a really fun week.
Remove the salary cap. I strongly believe that. We can go back on the record now. The salary cap is dumb. It's stupid. Don't have it.
What?
Nope. Soccer teams don't have salary caps.
Yeah, but
there should be a way to penalize the rich teams without having the salary cap. There should be a way to handicap good teams. Here's what I think.
Okay.
There should be slightly less regular season games.
70 is what I'd like to see.
What are they at now?
82.
I would actually put it down
60?
to like 60. And then have an FA Cup for basketball. Let's go.
No.
NBA FA Cup. It'd be great.
They're thinking about that.
It's the best way to punish good teams and to reward little teams who go all in on the FA Cup. When you diversify priorities in a sport that has a ton of games, like soccer or like basketball, it does one of two things. It forces the Lakers
Yes.
and the Bucks to make...
The Bucks are a great team, but this is like, they worked so hard for this success, and the Lakers just bought everybody.
I'm talking about these like OP1 seeds right now.
Okay, yes.
The way that you could make both conferences competitive right now, or at least ensure that there are more interesting games in the middle of the season, is by adding this thing. If I have to choose, what matters to me for my rotation, then I have to choose.
Okay.
So if I'm the Lakers, I've got like basically 3 options. 1, tough it through.
What? Explain the FA Cup for those who are not familiar.
Sure. There's actually like several of these in English football because they work so well that they've decided to put in a lot of different mid-season competitions. But there is the Premier League. That is the NBA in this scenario. Except instead, there's no playoff at the end. Whoever wins. Now, I'm not saying that this is that this should be the way the NBA does.
Okay.
Don't get rid of the playoff. That's dumb.
Okay.
Would it be better at finding the best basketball team? Yes, but the NBA playoffs are a special thing.
Yes.
In this scenario, the Premier League is like the NBA.
Yes.
The FA Cup is a tournament that happens in the middle of the NBA season. In this scenario, it'd be the NBA, in which both NBA teams and D-League teams...
G-League teams.
Is that what I thought it was called the D-League?
Not anymore. Gatorade sponsors it now, and it's the G-League.
Are invited to compete against one another. There are basically 2 buckets that names go into before a round, and then we draw 2 names. So it's going to be like, this week, the San Antonio Spurs are going to play the Boston Celtics. Whichever team is doing better in the league right now gets home court advantage. And effectively...
Do the G League teams need to be in this?
No, but that's how it works in the English league, is that the lower leagues are also involved. Which is really, really cool because they can have incredible runs against teams that are way better than them because those teams have less incentive and less to play for than these teams.
So it would be like if in the middle of a college football season, it's like the SEC, like how they have before rivalry week, they just beat up on FCS teams, but like that game did not count for like the playoffs or anything like that. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Not really.
Okay.
Like there's nothing exactly to compare it to.
Okay.
In any other sport, the only comparison is this thing.
Okay. So keep saying things about the thing.
So the way it works in English football is there's a big cash prize at the end for whatever team wins, and they get the TV rights. So it's important for smaller teams to go deep because that money goes further in a smaller budget, right? Mm-hmm. What I would propose is that you keep all the TV money from however deep you go, that the NBA sets it up as a very favorable deal for the teams to want to go deep, and then we add on, I don't know what a reasonable number is, but 10% to your cap space. Some percentage of cap space to say, if you win this, you get more money to spend next year on the league. Yep, that's a big incentive to get people to play, but also people are still going to care more about the finals, right?
Yes.
So now back to that thing we were talking about earlier. If I'm the Lakers, and I know I'm going to be good this year, and I'm interested in being good in this tournament, but I also need to keep my players healthy. Because when you think about it,
yes,
these teams that get out early, that's, 12 games they don't have to play.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody else is fresher. You're playing 2 a week when they're playing 1. That's a big, big, big difference, especially even more than in soccer and basketball.
Yes, with load management being the hot buzzword of the season, and like you can literally turn on a game between big teams any night and not know who's playing and who's not based on the rest schedules.
Yep, which is frustrating.
It is.
The other thing it does is it lets these bigger teams, like, what if we said, hi, we're the New Orleans Pelicans. We really, really deeply care about keeping Zion Williamson healthy. So what we're going to do is... we're the New Orleans Pelicans. We really care about keeping Zion healthy. So what we're going to do is only play him in games for this FA Cup style tournament. And the rest of the season, he won't do a single thing in the league. But he gets exposure, and we get a chance at that stuff later on down the line. It would be a great way, especially... in an NBA that is not kind to rookies. You know, It is difficult these days to have a really solid rookie year unless you are like a generation-defining talent who happens to be healthy coming out of college, which is like rare. Imagine if, there was some sort of rule or incentive that, like, if you play a rookie, the league grants you some sort of boon. For every rookie you start in this game, and they get a certain number of minutes, you get a slightly bigger chunk of the TV rights. 1%.
1%.
You have to bribe these people. Owners want to make money. You bet your ass that the LA Clippers would have gone in for this every single year under Donald Sterling, which, as much as that guy sucked, would have given their fans something to cheer for.
Yeah.
Through some pretty dark years for that team. You incentivize things with owners' greed and make it, like, feasible for teams to make a run who are never going to make a run in the regular league.
Yeah, I could see this working out for a lot of teams, actually. Like, the Orlando Magic come to mind instantly. Because, like, they have such a solid core of players, but there's, like, nobody who's going to win them a series or anything. So
yeah. Does this mean that the Magic don't try when the Lakers come to town?
Oh, yeah. They beat the Lakers this year, actually.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But wouldn't you rather see that in a game that really had some stakes?
Oh, yeah.
Also, that means that, like, the Lakers have to try if they care. You know? Sure, do you sometimes get games where it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like LeBron James, he's good for, like, 20 or 30 on any given night. But he's also good for 8 at least once or twice a year. He'll score like 8 to 10 points in a game.
Yep.
Like, and no one uses it as a knock against him because people do. Of course they do. But, like, that's just something that happens. We're all used to it, you know? So, yeah.
I think it's actually a really good idea.
I think that is a good idea.
You were against it when we started talking about this.
I was.
You seemed really trepidatious.
Because just the way they were talking about it, like, the way you mentioned it with cap space works so much better than what Adam Silver was talking about when he's like, they'll just get $1 million. Like, no one's going to care for that $1 million. These guys are all rich and will probably just pocket the money anyways and like divvy it up amongst the players or something. But if you offer them that incentive of cap space, I think that becomes so much more intriguing and what the NBA should be trying to do than just their current proposals of $1 million, take it or leave it, or they're going to take the 7 through 10 seeds and have them play for the 7 and 8 seed.
No, that's dumb.
Yeah, that's dumb. They're talking about that too.
That's a totally stupid.
And they're also the stupidest they've had yet. Once you get to the conference finals, they reseed them based on record.
What?
Yes. So like, let's say Lakers best record in the league, Bucks second record, Rockets. Let's say Lakers best record, Rockets second best, Bucks third, Sixers fourth. So once it gets, it's gonna be.
This is so profoundly stupid.
Yeah. So it'll be Lakers, Sixers, and then Bucks, Rockets, instead of Bucks, Sixers, and Lakers, Rockets.
But you played in 2 different conferences, and God knows one is always tougher than the other.
Yes, that's such a stupid idea. Thankfully, they're starting to back away from that. And let's be honest, the only reason they're considering that is because in these next few years, there would have been a very real chance for an LA versus LA final. That's it.
You mean Golden State?
No, Clippers, Lakers, finals.
Oh,
if the Clippers can get their crap together, because like they made some huge offseason moves and yet nobody's healthy, and I don't even know if these guys like each other, which has been fascinating to watch.
So I actually don't like the Love Islanding of basketball. Like,
I like
play
that.
Together. This is like not something that comes up in the sports I normally follow.
That's what I like about it. It's so petty and like you get.
No, man. Like,
I love that.
The A-Rod beef is a perfect example of how sports beef should work. It should be low broil until you retire, and then you should hate on each other constantly.
But you've got cases in like the Brooklyn Nets where Kyrie Irving, undoubtedly one of the most skilled players in the NBA, and the team is 13-0 without him. Like, come on. Like, just stuff like that, just the dumb, petty drama that happens. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. Oh, you don't care. That's lame.
I like this league. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
My life is better now that I'm following Team Redacted.
That's awesome.
But like, it's never something that I feel like I'm probably going to be. I might be wrong. We gotta wait for the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I think the trade deadline is gonna be fun.
Trade deadline's always fun. It's always fun just because of all the rumors, and then it's an annual tradition to either be extremely let down or like, I can't believe there were so many trades. It's either one or the other, and no one knows what you're going to get until the actual day happens.
There's one more thing that I know you love the NBA for that I do not like the NBA for.
Is that the slam dunk contest?
No. Although I like the slam dunk contest.
What is it?
Coverage.
Oh, okay.
The commentary. The pregame shows. The halftime
Inside the
shows.
NBA is the best thing.
I want to rip out my eyeballs. It's so stupid and like faux down to earth and so memey and dumb and like none of the analysis matters because none of the games matter. It's so frustrating.
Oh gosh, there's nothing better than watching a TNT primetime game and then seeing, especially the late ones, and seeing Ernie, Kenny, Chuck, and Shaq just stumble through a show. It's so funny. It's so funny. Oh my God.
I don't get the comedy of it. But the other thing is frustrating, and we touched on this earlier. Like, I was really excited for Team Redacted to play 1 seed in conference Redacted. And that game didn't feel like it mattered to anyone. Like, we just, we showed up. We were there. We wore our jerseys. Thus ends our effort. Like, it was almost like we're resigned to the fact that, like, we're in a little bit of a slump, so we're just going to let this one go. Yeah. And we're in a weird spot in our, like, rotation where it feels like nobody's firing and everybody's tired. I don't know.
Y'all are just waiting for that all-star break. I can tell.
Yes, absolutely.
Unless star player Redacted gets his mojo working and has one of those weeks he has. But
oh, yeah. Well, star player Redacted is the best part of cheering for Team Redacted.
Yes.
Him, by far and away. Other co-star player redacted is fun.
Yes.
I don't know how to feel about other co-star player redacted. He's very controversial in City Redacted. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, in a week we'll be able to talk about all this, but until then,
we'll
call it a night.
And I will get it done on the week by the end of the week because I said it on the podcast. So it
has to happen. Remember the merch?
Merch.